Hello and welcome to Monday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, and a debut on the channel I think today for Cale Schoon and a puzzle called Bosnian Whisper. And the reason we're doing this is it's been recommended to us a lot, including by none other than Qodec, that absolute giant of the Sudoku and puzzling world, who dropped us an email and said this is a simply magnificent puzzle. It has a 100% approval rating and only 2 stars out of 5 for difficulty. I cannot tell you how hard that is to achieve. In fact, I question whether there will be any puzzle on Logic Masters Germany that has that accolade. This could be the only one. Now, why is it called Bosnian Whisper? I think, I'm not sure about this, but I vaguely remember from the days when I used to compete puzzle solving that there was a type of logic problem called a Bosnian road puzzle, which was you'd get a grid and there would be some cells in the grid that would have numbers in them, and those numbers would tell you how many of the 8 cells around that number had to be on the road, if you like. And I think that's what we've got going on here. So I think it's sort of a hybrid puzzle, this, of Sudoku and that old Bosnian road logic problem. But anyway, I'm very much looking forward to having a go at it. If you get an email from Qodec saying you simply have to do this one, you sit up and take notice. So this will be, I'm sure, magnificent. As Maverick takes off, that really hasn't taken any time at all. And it's not even a very nice day for flying today. It's miserable and windy, but anyway, that doesn't stop Maverick from disturbing the videos. So apologies, there's about to be some aeroplane noise as Maverick buzzes past the control tower, otherwise known as my office. Now, I don't have any birthdays today, so just a couple of things to mention. Please consider joining our Sudoku Club if you enjoy the content here. There's all sorts of extra content over there, including, of course, our monthly competitions, which normally take the form, or almost always nowadays take the form, of a big Sudoku hunt. Many Sudokus linked by a theme. So we've got a new one coming up on the 1st of September, so look out for that. And other than that, we have our new app out, Approachable Sudoku, filled with puzzles that sort of will be lovely coffee time fillers for those of you familiar with variant Sudoku, and for people who aren't as familiar with variant Sudoku, a great introduction and sort of teach you the tips and tricks involved in solving these wonderful puzzles that we see on the channel every day. So here, I'll try and remember to put a link on the screen, but that's a little teaser. A puzzle by Florian Wortman there. Anyway, that's all the news. Let's have a look at Bosnian Whisper and see what Cale Schoon has in store. The rules are as follows. Normal Sudoku rules apply, so we have to put the digits 1 to 9, once each in every row, every column, and every 3x3 box. Make a 1-cell wide loop of orthogonally connected cells which does not branch or touch itself, not even diagonally. So what does that mean? This is good. So this would be this couldn't be the loop. Let's deal with a few things. First is, what does orthogonally connected cells mean? Well, they're cells that share an edge. So if we try to now somehow get this cell onto the loop, it couldn't be on the loop because it only touches the rest of the loop at a single point, this diagonal connection. In other words, this cell is not orthogonally connected with the rest of the green line. So that would not be a valid way of constituting the loop. But also, look here, these 2 cells touch one another diagonally, so the loop has touched itself diagonally, and that is expressly against the rules. So we mustn't do that. We could easily fix it just by doing that. Now the loop does obey the rules. Circled cells cannot be on the loop, so we've only got 4 circles. It's remarkable. And the digit in a circle indicates how many of the up to 8 surrounding cells are on the loop. So the language there is very nice. So that's getting at the fact that this circle, for example, only has 5 cells surrounding it. So you just have to count how many of these 5 cells are on the loop. Whereas this one has all 8 cells surrounding it, so we'd have to count how many of the 8 cells are on the loop. Now, it would be quite funny if this was an 8, because then the loop would just be that. And well, that couldn't work, could it? Because these would all be zeros. But anyway, I think we understand that rule. And there's only one more rule. It says adjacent digits along the loop must differ by at least 5. So in other words, that's sometimes called a German Whispers constraint in the world of variant Sudoku. So we've got to play German Whispers. Let's just make sure everyone understands. So imagine this was the loop and this square here was a 1. Now these two squares would have to be at least 5 different from 1. So they would have to be from the digits 6, 7, 8 and 9. So that's how German Whispers work, and that's all the rules. So do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual, but now I get to play. Let's get cracking. I'm going to start off straight away by highlighting these cells and noting that the instructions tell us these cannot be on the loop. So, right. So that immediately allows us to do some fairly simple eliminations. It's a loop. We're drawing a loop, so we can't. This cell now must be grey, mustn't it? Because otherwise the loop has to go in there and get out without touching itself, and that's not going to work. So that's off the loop. Same reason these two are off the loop, because if the loop does go in there, it's going to turn and touch itself across this boundary. So both of those are off the loop. So this one's already getting a bit yeah. In fact, I now know what this is, don't I? Because I'm going to claim that this can't be a 1. And the reason for that, if it's a 1, we're saying only one of these two squares is on the loop. And I don't see how we could ever achieve that. If I try and leave this off the loop, then this is on the loop, but it's a turn. And again, we're going to run into this problem where the loop's going to go round this circle, and it's going to touch itself here. So I appreciate if you're not used to loop drawing puzzles that are involving this one cell wide construction, some of this logic is probably not as familiar to you, but I've done so many of these puzzles over the years that feels very, very natural to me. So this is, well, so this is a 2, which means these two cells are both loop. I'm going to have green as my loop colour. It's a loop, so it can't end here. This is going to be a corner, so the loop must do this. Now this square can't be on the loop, or the loop would be touching itself. And you can look at this. We're going to be able to build lots of loop here. Now, we can't close the loop, because this cell can't be a 0. So this square is grey. This square is green. Yeah, again, we can't, if we move here, remember the loop can't touch itself diagonally. So if we do take this cell with the loop, we must also take that cell. And again, this would be a 0, which can't work. So I think this has to be grey. The loop must continue. I've got to make sure the loop touches at least one cell around there. Okay, right, I can see something here. This is already exceptionally clever. But I think to reveal what I've seen, I'm going to have to talk to you about some secrets I know about German Whispers lines. Now, the first thing we can say about a German Whispers line is that we can never put 5 on the line at all, because adjacent digits must differ by 5 at least in value. Imagine we were going down from 5. This would be a 0 or a negative number, and they aren't Sudoku digits. And if we go higher than 5, we're going to get to 10 or higher, and that isn't Sudoku either. So you can't put 5 on one of these, on any green cell. Actually, I wonder if that's how you... No. I was suddenly thinking, it's a fatuous point, but in each box there obviously will be a 5, and that 5 must be grey. But no, I don't think we know enough to start plotting 5s. Anyway, let's carry on. So that means each digit on a green line is either going to have the quality of being below 5 or above 5. And the interesting thing is they oscillate. So imagine this was lower than 5. So 1, 2, 3 or 4. Obviously this square now has to be at least 5 different from 1, 2, 3 or 4. And even if this was 1, and even if we only increased the 1 by 5, we'd still get to 6, so we'd flip the other side of 5. And that logic always applies. So, what we can now start to think about is look at those 3 digits. They are all going to have the same polarity vis-a-vis 5. They're all either above 5 or they're all below 5. Now, can they be below 5? And I'm going to claim no. Because if these are a 1, 3, 4 triple, given 2 is here, one of these is a 4, and 4 is a difficult digit. It's a naughty digit when it comes to German Whispers lines, because it's unfriendly. It only ever wants to partner up with the digit 9. And that's going to break Sudoku, because if we put 4 in, well, if this was 1, 3, 4, one of these is 4, and whichever one is 4 has to have 9 on both sides of it. And that will break Sudoku. Obviously, if this is 4, both of these are 9. If this is 4, both of these are 9. If this is 4, both of these are 9. Any of those break Sudoku. And this is going to be a huge thing, because now we know that these 2 digits must be below 5. Neither of these can be a 4 for exactly the same reasons. So this is a 1, 3 pair. And these digits are all higher than 5, and none of those could be 6 for exactly the same reason that none of these could be 4. 6 is the other unfriendly digit. It only partners up with 1. So these are a 7, 8, 9 triple. These are a 4, 5, 6 triple. This is brilliant. This is a brilliant puzzle. And, well, the other fascinating thing now we're going to be able to do, we've sort of locked in the polarity of the line. So when you have a line that moves orthogonally from cell to cell, we can think of it as sort of having bishop's colours associated with it. What do I mean by that? What I mean is that now any green cell on this cell's bishop's colour, so this, any of these sorts of cells, will have the same polarity, the same high polarity, because to get to that cell on the loop will always take an odd number of steps. And the same is true for this one. So this cell, for example, it is always going to be obviously a low digit, but we can apply that logic anywhere in the grid. Let's look at this square. We could deduce, if this was green, we can just take the bishop's moves. That will be a 7, 8 or a 9. So that's going to be enormously powerful. This is going to be 7, 8 or 9. Not 6. I was just suddenly thinking, could it be 6? But no, it would have the double 1 problem. So all 3 of these are all low digits. Now that definitely can't be 4. No, this can't be 4, because whether the loop goes here or here, a 9, if this was 4, this will be 9, and that 9 would see both of those squares by Sudoku. So this is not 4. This one might be able to be 4, but only if the loop immediately goes downwards, because the 9 here wouldn't see the 9 there by Sudoku. So that one is a bit of a naughty digit. We don't know about that square. Now, okay, this can't be a 7 anymore, because one of these digits is 3, and 3 plus 5 is 8 at least. It's not 7, so that one can't be a 7. This can't be 2 by our old friend Sudoku, that fair-weathered friend. But I've got to be careful here, because there's no reason that 2 can't be in a grey cell. What about these then? So this digit is a maximum of 5 and a minimum of, well, it can't be 2 because it sees 2. So it's a 3, 4 or 5. And well, actually it's not 3, is it? Because it's got a 1, 3 pair looking at it. So this is 4 or 5 now. Now, what's that doing? This only sees 2 at the moment. So if that's green, it's going to see 3 more, and this would be 5. If that's not green, then both of these would have to be green in order to get us up to a count of 4. I suppose I'm wondering, it's not possible, is it, for this square to not be green? Because if that's grey, I've got to get to a count of 4 at least, so these would both be green, and this can't be on the loop. So this is definitely green. I don't think I know whether this is green or not. Well, that can't be grey now, can it? If that's grey, then again the loop has gone in here, it will have to turn and it'll hit itself again. So this is green as well. So now, I'm not sure, is that logic right? I don't see why it's wrong, I'm just slightly perturbed. Now, so what's this digit then? So this digit is, it's already seeing 5 greens, and it could see as many as 7 greens. So it's 5, 6 or 7. But it's not 7, because there's a 7 in box 1 looking at it. So it's 5 or 6 now. So if this was 5, this would be 4. And that would have... Hang on, that doesn't work. hang on. If this is 5, that's 4. Which means this one is quarate. It has seen everything green it's allowed to see. But that means this is grey. It means that's green. But now you can see this is a corner of the loop. And the loop cannot go there. So that would be green. And now this one's seeing 6. So that just doesn't work. So this one is not 5, that one's 6, which means one of the only one. Beautiful, beautiful. Only one of these can be green. How could it be this one? If that one's green, let me show you. Again, the loop's now touched itself here, so it can't go off a wandering. If it goes off a wandering here, we're going to have a problem because the loop has, well, something like that, for example, the loop's touched itself diagonally, which it's not allowed to do. So if this is green, that is also green, and this couldn't be 6. So that is not green. This is the 6th green. This is pushing this over. We can't come down here, because then the loop will close there, and it'll never get to touch its friends over here. So that's grey. This is green. This is brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. Now, do I know what that is now, then? That's not 6, I've just noticed. Oh. That can't be 4, because the loop is, well, if this is 4, that's double 9. So I've got a 1-3 pair now. This digit has to be high. Again, this might be able to be 6, but only if those two are double 1. The other interesting thing here, though, that I'm seeing is this digit looks interesting, doesn't it? Where's that going in box 2? I think it's got to go there. Just from the pencil marks we've got. Now this digit, if it was on the loop, would be, it couldn't be a 5, it would have to be a 4, and that won't work. That's absolutely brilliant. Wow. Yeah, so let me show you. If that's green, because it's on the loop and German whispered, therefore it's never 5, that's what we said earlier. So it would be 4, this would be 9, but as the loop extends, it would have to extend here, because this can't go there. These are not 5 apart, but that would put 2 9s next to each other. So this digit is grey, and that means the loop turns down there. Now it's hit itself, so it must continue. Now all of these squares are grey, otherwise the loop's going to touch itself again. Sorry, there's a creaky door, spooky door going on. Oh no, I was about to say that can't be 6, but it absolutely can be now. Well, oh yeah, this is lovely. Good grief. Look, now I'm going to look at that digit. Where's that digit in this box? Now this is a 4, 5 or 6, and it's not the orange digit which goes here. By Sudoku, blue can't go in any of those. It's not equal to 1, 2 or 3, and it's not equal to 7, 8, 9. So it goes there, and it is therefore 6. And if it is therefore 6, this is 1, this is 1, this is 3, this is 1, and this is absolutely brilliant. That's not 6 in the corner. I wonder if we have to colour these 4s and 5s now. Well, let's keep that in mind as a possibility. We can't put 7 between a 2, 3 pair, because one of these is 3, and 3 and 7 are not 5 apart. This is a 3, so this can't be a 7. So this, oh, I see. So the 7 is here in box 1, which means that's 2, that's 3. That might be important, but I'm not immediately seeing why. Let's keep on with our bishop's colouring. So these two are both low digits, 1s, 2s, 3s or 4s, and that can't be 1 or 2. So this is, well, it can't be 4 because that's going to double 9 these squares. So that's a 3, which means this is an 8, 9 pair. I've got an 8, 9 pair in column 5. This digit is not 1 or 3. Well, okay. Well, that's not 4. Because if it's 4, this is 9, and however the loop extends next, it'll have another 9 on it, and it'll be in the same box. So that's a 2, which doesn't put any pressure on this digit, although it does put a 2 over there by Sudoku. That digit can't be on the loop. Because if that's on the loop, how's the loop moving? The loop's doing that, and these are double 1, so that's grey. So we probably need to think about this one soon. Yeah, this one, it could only see a maximum of 4 loop cells, and it can't be a 1 or a 2, so it is a 3 or a 4. I don't know. That digit is 8 or 9 I'm seeing, which is actually... maybe, oh, we could colour 8s and 9s as well. 6. 6 is in this corner. And wherever it is, it's not on the loop. 1 is in one of those squares. And I've got to put quite a lot of green around here to make this 3 or 4 clue work. Oh, bobbins, now I'm stuck, aren't I? How do we unstick ourselves? 6 is in one of these 2 squares. I mean, the remarkable thing here is that Cale has managed to... he's managed to start the loop using these clues. But there are literally no clues in the bottom of the grid at all. Yet somehow the sort of chain of events that started is going to have to allow the puzzle to finish, which is really peculiar. 2's down there, 3's down here. You can see I'm desperate now. I'm doing Sudoku. 1's are down here. So what's it going to be? I mean, is it going to be something like noting bishop's colours? Like if this is on the loop, it would have to be a 4. You see, that's the problem, is that could be on the loop, and it could do a rinky-dink like that, and that could be double 9, and it might work. I'm not saying it does work. I'm just saying at first blush I can't see why that doesn't work. So okay, maybe there are some of these cells that have to be like if this one was grey, could that ever be true? Because this would be a corner. Oh, that absolutely could work. Sorry, I thought that might not. Well, what about that one? That one can't be grey, because then all 3 of these are green, and that one would not be loopable. So this is definitely green. Now, by bishop's colour, it's... oh, that's so ridiculous. That is ridiculous. Sorry, it's obviously... I said it was windy. The door is creaking, but I don't care. This digit, by bishop's colour, is low. And what is it? It sees 1, 2 and 3, so it is 4, and that is the most dramatic digit it could be. Well, actually, for loads of reasons. I was going to say because it has to have double 9 around it, and it does. But that means this must be 8, because the 9 must be orthogonally connected in box 3 to the 4. So this is 8, this is 9, this is 8, this is 9, this is 8, this is 9. But also, this is 5, and that's the orange digit. So that's 4. So this is... Oh, now, look. This is a 5-6 pair. Neither of the 5 or 6 can be loopable. 5 by dint of German Whisper. 6 has to be surrounded by double 1 on the loop, and you can't put 2 1s in box 3. So both of those are grey, and that forces this downwards, where we know this digit is now low, and it's 1, 2, or 3. Well, in fact, I'm now seeing this is a 1, 2, 3 triple, isn't it? And that's also interesting. Because if this is a 1, 2, 3 triple, once we're here, we can't go to here, because those two digits are not 5 apart. So we do go down. That's grey. That's unreachable by a loop. This digit is 9 by dint of the 4. That digit must be the extension, because the 4 must be surrounded by 9 on both sides. And that digit's therefore grey. Now, if this digit was on the loop, it would be a 1, because it would have to be low, and it sees 2, 3, and 4. And that would make this a 4, and that a 5, and make this green. Okay, 9 is in the same pencil marked positions as 6 in box 5, so we can fill in the other digits with their options, 4, 5 and 7. No, I wanted to put them in the middle of the box, so 4, 5 and 7, that's not 5. Oh, that's rotten, that's not done anything. Sorry, I was hopeful about that, but it didn't do anything. What about those squares then? 4, 7 and 8. Let's put that in. Oh, bobbins, that's not going to work either, is it? 6, 9, is that somehow resolved? I don't know. Okay, let's try. What about if that's green then? That would then have to be a 3. So, oh, that doesn't work. Right, so it's this one that we look at next. Because if this is green, you can see from the row, it's got to be a low digit. It's not 1 or 2, so it's 3 or 4, but it definitely can't be 4, because the extension of the loop here would be a 9. So it must be 3, and the extension must be an 8, and the 8 would clash. So this is not the extension. This is the extension. And we've worked out already that that's a 1, therefore, because it can't be 2, 3, or 4. So this isn't a 1. And this is a 4, because that's how many it sees. And that's now a 5. This is lovely. Let me just double check that digit. That does seem to be a 7. So this is a 4, this is a 5. This isn't 4. This isn't 7. We're chocolate teapotted here with a 4, 7, 8 triple. But surely, this being 5, it's only seeing 4 at the moment, so the loop goes round that corner, doesn't hit itself, goes down again, extend all these digits in, so this is a low digit and is 1 or 3. This is a high digit and it is 7, which means this isn't 3 because it's not far enough apart. This is high and is 8 or 9. Okay, I need 3 and 8 in row thingy. Technical term for row 4, and oh, I can get this digit. That's 5, is it? Seems to be. Okay, so that's 5, that's 5, that's 6. 6 lives in one of these homes in box 9. Now, can we do better? 3, 4, 8 into those squares. I think we're chocolate teapotted here as well. 8 comes out of that, 3 comes out of that. Bobbins. Oh, 5 is not loopable. So that's grey. That's grey. The loop comes through here. That can't be 2, therefore, because we need to get a high digit into this square. And it's not 6, and it's not 9, so it's 7 or 8. And that's not doing it, is it? And somehow the bottom of this grid needs to resolve. That digit's doable. That's a 7 by Sudoku. So 7's in one of these 2 squares. 7. 4 lives in one of those squares. 9 lives in one of these squares. Oh dear. 5 lives in one of those squares and will have to be off the loop. 5 lives in one of these squares and will have to be off the loop. 5 lives in one of those squares and will have to be off the loop. 6 is in one of these. This is terrible. I'm trying to do Sudoku. Right. Okay. I am going to come back to this digit then, because this is a digit we looked at earlier before we knew how the loop was moving. And if this is green, because of Bishop's colouring, it's a low digit, and it would be 4, and it would be surrounded by 2 9s that would have to be in box 7, and that will break the world. So that square must be grey, which means the loop does come down here, which means that can't be 5. So the 5 lives in the corner, gets greyed, turns this into a corner of the loop. The loop does this. This digit is low, and it's 3, therefore, which means that's 8, and that's going to unwind one of our chocolate teapots. So this is 9. That's not 9. This digit is 8. Needs to be 5 away from 3, and it can't be 9, so that gets 8'd. These are a 6-7 pair now. And neither of those are far enough away from 8, so that the loop pokes through this little channel. And we need one. Oh, okay, we've got lots of low digits here. That's also interesting though, because the loop, once it reaches this position, it can't go horizontal. Sorry, it can't go in a vertical or a north or south direction, because it will bump into a digit that's too close to it. It can't change polarity. So those are both grey. It must go there, which means that digit's not 5. This digit is not 7 or 8, so it's 6. Oh, no. Well, can it be 6? Maybe it could. Maybe it could go 1 6 1 1 6. No, it can't. No, it can't. There's a 1 here. So for this to be 6, obviously this will be a 1, which means the loop cannot extend to this square because we'll get 2 1s in a row. So the loop would have to go vertical with a 1, which it cannot do. So that is 9, which means that's 9 in the corner, almost worth a song. Okay, that can't be 4 because it would be too close to 8. So this is 1 or 2. This is 9. Right, and we can't now. This is so clever. You can't go vertical, because if you go vertical, what digit are we going to? Which low digit is available? And it's only 4, and that's going to put a second 9 into box 8. So we have to just plough on regardless into this square, which means both of these are greyed. This is a low digit, but it's only, well, it can't be 4 again, because we would get a second 9, so it is 2 or 3, and it's not 3, so it is 2. That's 1. Here we go. We get a 2-4 pair in box 7. Whoopsie. Neither of these is 2. Have we 4, 5 and 8 to complete column 4, and that's not 5. Oh, look, 5. Where's 5 in column 4? It's got to be here. Which means that's 5, and therefore definitely grey. Take these 5s out. And, oh no, we see we could go vertical in this column, because the digit we'd go vertical to would be a 7. And then we could go to a 1. So we could go 7 1 or 7 1. Or we go here and this would be a 6. Well, it couldn't be a 6 because we get zugzwanged by the 1 situation, and also 6 and 2 are too close. It would be a 7 here, which would also go into a 1. So this is a bit strange, but I think this I was about to prove this wasn't a 1, and I could have done that using Sudoku rather than the hard way. It's classic me. Okay, 3, 4, 7 to these squares. Let's try Sudoku. Maybe that's how you're meant to do this. I don't know. The other thought is, could we just... We've got 4, 6, and 7 into those squares. I'm just going to label them up and see what's what. See, that's not 4. So this, oh, I see. So 4 in the row is actually placed. I hadn't realised that. That can never be looped, because if it's on the loop, it's going to have 2 9s in this box. So that's grey, which means this is grey. So it looks like we might have to come through. No, we can't come through this channel. Look at this. If this was green, the channel would extend above and below this cell. This couldn't be 6, therefore it would be 7, and it would be surrounded by a 1 2 pair, and there is a beautiful 1 in this position, and that won't work. So this is grey. These are both grey. We now have to come through this tiny little channel in order to connect the loop up, which means we can't start a wandering over here, because once you get this diagonal connection, we know it's going to be finished by one of those 2 squares. So those 2 are both grey. Same is true here. These are both grey. We've very nearly closed the loop. So, okay, well, let's do some labelling then. This square is a 1 because it can't be any other low digit. But that puts no pressure on this one, which is a 7 actually, by dint of the fact it sees all the other high digits. Now this isn't 7, so this is 7. Doesn't do anything. But a 7 must go to a 1 or a 2, mustn't it? But that's really annoying. Oh, sorry about this squeaky door. Oh, where's 8 in row 6? I can do that. That's 8, that's 2. So this looks like it's the way that the loop closes. This is 1 or 3. If this is where the loop closes, this would have to be a 2. But rather terrifyingly, it can be. Oh. I hope I haven't made an error here, because how are we going to do this then? This can't, no, that's not even true. What I was about to say is such utter nonsense. But that 7 knocks this out from being 7, and now this can't be loop because we need a digit that's far enough apart from 2. So this is another 7. This is a 7. This is a 6. That's no longer a 6. That is a 6 actually. So has that, now this isn't a 7, so I've got a 3 4 pair here. So that's a 7. That's going to unwind my top chocolate teapot look. So all of those digits go in. And what's this digit? Is that going to be a useful digit? It's 6, isn't it? So this digit is 2 or 3 by Sudoku. And that gives me a 2 3 pair in this column. And that does it, because now this digit cannot be a 2, which is what would be required for it to be on the loop. So the loop does close to this 2 here. This is grey. This digit is an 8, which has probably been, that's been available by Sudoku in a variety of ways, but never mind, I did it my own way. This is now a 3. So this is a 2, and this is a 1, and that's a 3, and that's a 2. And that's a 3, and that's a 1, and that's a 3, and that's a 4, and that's a 4, and that's a 2. That is a breathtakingly brilliant puzzle. I mean, how long does that take me? 30 minutes. I mean, I'm very lucky in the sense that I've done enough German whispers before that some of that logic came very naturally. But it's so smooth that you can create a puzzle with, what was it, 4 clues? 4 clues and a couple of givens, which I managed not to forget today. Let's just see. It is correct. That's absolutely brilliant, Cale.
absolutely brilliant. There was nothing in the bottom of the grid, and yet it's solved perfectly naturally. It has got that miracle-esque quality. God, Maverick, sorry, because there's so little given information apparently, and yet you can just go through it. This was beautiful. The way this 5 and 6 filtered down here and forced the loop to turn, and then it all works through. Thank you very much to Qodec for the fulsome recommendation. This is exactly the sort of puzzle. I mean, the fact is, you don't get puzzles of this quality very often, but that they're brought to our attention is something of a gift. Thank you very much for watching. If you still are, let me know how you got on with the puzzle in the comments. We enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind, and we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.